What's up, everybody? Hoang Zero here, and today I have for you something that has never before seen. What do you even call this? Like, what's the name of this?
I've been calling it Mummy Loop, because Mummy is the key card
Yeah,
in it's sort of just loop.
yeah. So this video is basically the new version of Lilith Loop, which is a deck that previously saw a lot of success back in BT6 especially. Oh no, it was EX1 especially, right? That was the Gabubon format, and then it continued to see success BT7 and BT8 as well. But here we have guest star Rusty from Oceania, who is going
Hello.
to give us a bit of a introduction to the Mummy Loop. Rusty, if you want to say anything to start with.
Yeah, so I guess like at a high level, just it's a loop deck. Make sure you know what you're doing before you bring this to locals. We don't want really frustrated players, but it is an extremely rewarding deck and has so much skill expression and like different ways you can path out a turn. It's really fun, which is how I've sold basically everyone that's now playing this deck on the deck. Is just you have so much fun while playing it. Um, but it does require practice and stuff. So I guess as a high level overview, the core of this deck is using Mummymon, Arukeni, and the Engine Tamer, which is the Arukeni and Mummymon Tamer, to just pump out level 5s, dig through your deck really quickly, and have a consistent source of blockers and level 5s to evolve onto. So I guess if we go through the cards, first up we've got Demi-Mirror. So we've got a 3-2 split on the eggs. The first Demi-Mirror is a lot more generic. You can draw and drop anything. Usually we'll be trying to draw and drop something like a Pummelwhack or a Nidhogg. But whatever you don't need in your hand at any given time is sort of the best thing to drop. Then we have the new Demi-Mirrormon, which is just trashing level 5 or higher. This is really good for setting up the trash to make sure you have either Arukeni or Mummy already in trash for when you delete the Tamer. Or you can discard Nidhogg to gain the memory and draw 2, or worst case scenario, you can discard any of the other 6s or 7s and just draw cards. And the reason for the 3-2 split is that we don't want to run out of cards in hand. So having the original Demi-Mirror, which is a +0, is sometimes going to cause problems, whereas this one's a +1, so it helps keep up hand size. So then we have Ghazi for the first rookie. Main purpose is memory blocking, especially for the new May and Mirage matchups. You can push up Ghazi to start a combo turn against Mirage, which really helps stop their level 6 from just absolutely ruining your plays. But it's a rookie, so you can always put it in Evo to draw a card, or in raising the draw a card, and it pops up in multiple matchups. Moving on to the Demi-Debi, this card is. This was originally at 4 because I figured it was really good for searching the 5s in the Tamer, but the more I played it, the more I realized that I never wanted to do that. So it got cut down to 1. It can still search those cards, but really the point of this card will come up later when we talk about Gizumon. But this is a valid target to bring out off of the Tamer, and that is the main point of it being here. So then, moving on, we have Star of the Deck. Best card in BT16 is Ukomon. There's a lot to say about this card. Having an Evo cost of 1 is actually a shockingly good thing for a rookie right now, because you can go first, Evo for 1. You don't have to have another play. You don't have to play a Tamer to put them to 4. You can just put them to 1, and then you're effectively going second, but you get to move up an Uko search and then have like the egg still. So this card is absolutely cracked. Helps a lot with the consistency to make sure you see the 5s in the Tamer, but also just a really good early game play. Then we move on to the old Ukomon. Again, helps you set up. This one, giving you the memory instead of the search, does come up quite a lot. If you have the memory setter, then you go to full memory at the beginning of the turn, meaning you can play the Engine Tamer, the Arukeni Mummymon Tamer, and you can then actually continue your plays from that point instead of passing turn on the Tamer. Both Ukos serve the purpose of setting up trash because you have Demi-Mirrors under them, but they just help accelerate the game plan so much. And purple was already running like analog boys to get that consistent turn after turn, have an egg ready. Now we just don't need to do that. It's incredible. Gizu is serving two purposes. Most cards in this deck serve two purposes. The early game, Gizu just lets you pop a rookie that survives, especially if you need the additional card draw. Not only does it draw 2 drop to itself, but it gives you the eggs. Very big into certain matchups that we'll get into later, but just being able to guarantee that you get the draw drop makes the deck run really smoothly. And then also, late game, this is used to stop yourself decking out. If you pop that, you can bot deck 2 Gizus. You won't play anything because they won't be a valid target, but you can still attempt to pay the cost, which will bot deck both of them, and then we can stop ourselves from decking out. So very, very important use for that card. Arukeni, core engine card. We need to see this card. We need to see Mummymon. So we have 4 of both. This specifically should not be underestimated. I, for the longest time, thought Mummymon was the better of the two, but I think it is actually Arukeni, because you get to set up your trash really effectively by searching 5 and discarding 2. You do often want to go into this one because your hand will be small and full of high value cards just naturally through filtering, so not being forced to draw and then discard cards that you don't want to discard is super valuable, and it took me a while to work that one out. Also, it's a blocker. It's a 6k blocker. That comes up a lot in this format. It will die to a lot of things, like Magnas and all that sort of stuff, but it also blocks most of Nume's stuff, and usually this is the one I bring out off of the Tamer, so it's going to die anyway. So I get use out of the blocker, whether it dies or not, before it would just die at the end of the turn. Mummymon is one of the best cards in this deck. Draw 2, drop 2 is just insane on the level 5 that you're playing for anywhere from 3 to 0. Like, this card just makes the deck work. It is incredible. There's not a whole lot to say about it. The retaliation does come up when you surprise your opponents with it. There have been a couple of times where I've just hard played the Mummymon the previous turn, so it survived, and then they've set up a board, and I just went, I'll just swing Mummymon into your boss monster and kill it. And they pick up the card, they read it, and they see retaliation, and then they facepalm. It's a very strong card. Malomyotis. This is a sort of a weird one. You would think that with the core of the deck being the Myotis engine, the 2/5s and the Tamer, this card would be more relevant. But it's not. It's sort of just like a toolbox option, especially early game. It's good for chipping down their security without having to check it and giving them a Tamer. But it also is just really good for removal. A lot of early game decks set up bodies, but they're not necessarily swinging with them. So if you can go into this, you can get some value and you can surprise your opponents a little bit. Cherubi, it's one of the core cards in this deck, I think. It especially combos well with Alice. I'll get into that later. But it sets up Tamers. It clears boards of 4 or lower, so it's good into Nume. It can pop a surprising amount of a Magna board. And then, when it dies, it explodes into a Pinata of what will effectively be Ukos and Agazi. So, very strong card. Then we have Lilith. I really feel like I don't have to explain Lilith in a loop list. This card's cracked. It makes you just explode with memory. You get to add back Jack Raids or Calling, whatever you need, and you'll gain 5 memory off of the average Lilith. It's just insane. Nidhogg is a little bit of a weird one. The main purpose of Nidhogg is discarding to gain memory. You can use that to extend your turn if you would otherwise pass turn. So that can be good to keep turn off a Mummymon being played off of the Tamer. But it does come up more than you would expect to Evo into this card just to kill something. Evoing into this to kill a Floodgate allows you to set up for the following turn. Or just even killing something to keep yourself alive. If you play a Mummymon, bring out Arukeni, and then Evo into this, you can kill something and have a blocker, which can keep you alive for one more turn, and sometimes that's just all you need. Shine lets this deck exist. This deck would not work without Shine, and not from like an engine's perspective. It's just this deals with everything in the format. Like you get to -5 aboard on evolution and on deletion, and we'll go over it later. But for the most point, you're going to be resolving like 3 of that -5k a turn. You can get to -15k, and you play around so many things. You kill Magnas in the start of your opponent's turn, so that's how you out Magna. You prevent Death X, which will stop the Cherubi from being de-digivolved. And realistically, no deck can attempt to win the game while they're under -15k. So this card just lets you stall out the game forever. Matt, good memory setter, sort of doesn't really... It seems really unassuming, but the 3 memory lets us play a Mummy or a Arokeni from hand without passing turn. The discard comes up where I've stolen a lot of turns because people like pop an Uko without thinking. I will discard like a Nidhogg and then tap Matt, and I'll gain 2 memory, and it'll be my turn suddenly. And it lets you make larger plays during your combo turn because you're discarding off Mummy, tap this, keep a bit more memory, and then you can extend just that little bit further. Engine Tamer is just core to the deck. You need to see this at 4. You want to see this as soon as possible early game, so you can start that resource loop of the Arokeni and the Mummymon. It's not a whole lot to say here. It's just core to how the deck functions. Very important card. Try to see it in the mulligan if you can. Alice, another really core card. This lets you Evo into Lilith for 0. It lets you Evo into Cherubi for 1 and do a really interesting play that will be covered in a second. Another really interesting play with Mallow. It just gives you a lot of flexibility, and how you use Alice is like a real test of your skill expression for the deck. So moving on, Pummelwhack at 4. This was something I thought was going to be like a joke or like just an experiment I wanted to try, but this card is doing so much for the deck that I can't imagine playing less of it now. You have obviously the main reason it was added originally was just so when I'm discarding off Mummymon, I can discard this and I can draw without losing hand advantage, because Mummymon is effectively a -1 on hand advantage if you're playing it from the hand. So this lets you like go +0 or even +1 if you have 2 of them. But the effect to pop something level 4 or lower just comes up so much this format. It clears Floodgates, it clears Numamon, it clears Magnamons. If they hit it in security, it can stop them from DNAing or stop them from popping off. And same with Claw. Claw obviously a little cheaper, but we have to have something to kill. Pummel you can just play, and with Matt you always have 3 memory at the beginning of turn, so you can play the Pummel, then attempt to keep playing. Both of these just really good security bombs this format and help the deck stay alive while it's setting up. Calling, once again, don't feel like I really need to explain why we play this card. Combos with Lilith, adds back whatever you need. Just a really solid card. Also, the fact it kills something, really not a negative in this format. Jack Raid at 4, once again, feels pretty standard for a loop list. Sometimes you'll see people playing 3. I think that's incorrect, because not only is this card just insane in hand, it's also a really good security bomb, and will pass turns and interrupt a combo, and suddenly you get to clear a board that otherwise would have had a lot of protection. So this card should absolutely be at 4. Discarding it early game if you see too many of them is perfectly fine, but cutting it to 3, I just would never do.
All right, and I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much, Rusty, for going over all the cards and explaining like what their core purposes are for this. I think that'll help a lot of people kind of make sense of like what it is they're looking at, and I'm sure even with the explanation, a lot of people are going to be like, I still don't like comprehend everything that's happening. So we will do a gameplay video in regards to that. But I know one other thing that we talked about a lot, and that you didn't mention in the video, was that Deathclaw. You wanted to have a second way to facilitate self-popping your own stacks for like your ruin modes and such like that. So I think that's another reason people should like be sure to like keep the extra copy, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, every card in this deck has multiple purposes.
Yeah.
Deathclaw's second purpose is just popping the shine to allow you to get that on deletion for the minus 15k.
All right, so we'll just go ahead. We'll hop into a game because I'm sure people are, scratching their heads and are like, what does this actually all mean, right? And you can. This is probably mulligan, right? Like this just looks terrible.
Oh yeah, this is all.
That looks really bad. Uko out.
Yeah, this isn't bad. This isn't bad.
Okay.
We have the Gizu for the extra draw.
Right. Okay. So I imagine it's what Evo Uko Slam Gizu.
No, it's Evo Slam Alice, I think.
Fair
Because you want the Gizu to pop the.
The Uko. Yeah, that makes sense. That's fair. All right, and then I don't know what deck the bots play. Nume actually. Oh yeah. They just
right,
don't want to Evo. It is what it is, I guess. All right, and then what Slam Gizu, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have the secondary egg under this, which means we can discard the shine, the draw as well.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And we're okay discarding the worst case discarding the shine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go ahead.
Yeah, we do Gizu first.
Okay. I was about to say what is your preference in this matter, but okay, that's nifty.
We're gonna probably end up discarding both anyway. Jack Ray discard here is fine because
Okay.
we already have one.
Okay.
And then just Nidhogg.
Nidhogg, right? Okay. And then we'll go ahead. We'll resolve the Nidhogg. We'll resolve the Demimera. Go ahead, discard the Ruin, and then we drew into that new Uko. That's really good here.
So from this position, they're likely not able to clear. So it might be better to put the old Uko in raising and slam the new Uko. I actually, there's a big discussion, especially turn 1, on whether you hard Evo into the new Uko and then pass, or if you Evo into the old Uko and slam the new one to put them to 3. It depends on how easily they can clear it, and whether you have a third rookie in hand or whatever. But a lot of the time, I think it is actually better to slam the new Uko and just Evo into the old Uko.
Here I imagine it's Mummy, right?
Yeah. If you haven't got the 5, especially if you're missing one of the 5s, you just need to find that basically as soon as possible.
And then here, what is it? Ghazi Evo Setup Tamer.
I think you slam at least the Uko with the egg under it here just to see what you draw.
Swing into it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
This deck gets a lot of value out of chipping down early. It just makes the kill turn a lot easier.
Pummel.
Yeah, discard Pummel, get the extra draw.
Nice. And then there's another Uko, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is why we swung, was to see if we could get the chain to keep going, because this isn't that kill turn. So the more value we can get, the better.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So we have a choice here: slam Matt or slam the Tamer.
Right.
I feel like we're putting them to 2. It's very likely they'll put us. Oh, they have memory gain, so they haven't got anything cost 4. So they could put us to 1, but it's unlikely. Guaranteeing the 3 memory feels like the most value, though.
All right. Yeah. We also do have the Jack Raid, and we're at 9 cards right now, so we can start at 4 memory. This is really good, especially when you're playing into Numemon, where they're swinging at face more often than not. So the likelihood you hit an additional tamer is pretty good, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but just knowing that we have the Jack Raid, and it's super easy for us to set up the Jack Raid. Matt, you guarantee into 4. I think it's just a really safe line of play.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then now I imagine it's just Mummy Slam.
Yeah, or we could, depending on the setup. Do we have another 5 in trash yet?
We
I don't think we
do
right?
not. No, we do not.
Okay. We could slam the Tamer and then play the 5 for 0.
Yeah. Yeah, which is it's a crazy thing, by the way. I don't think a lot of people realize is that you can stack these tamers together.
Oh no, I get every second game. It feels like someone goes, "Are you sure you can do that?" It's like I'm very sure I can do this, but I can understand why you're confused.
Yeah. All right, so go ahead, Mummy.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go ahead. We'll do 1. Delete itself, and then we'll go ahead and use the second one. Which I'm really glad that interaction works. I was very worried it wasn't going to.
Yeah.
All right, and then we resolve Mummy first because we want to fill the trash as much as possible. Discard Arukeni, discard Pummel Whack, right?
Yeah, and we need to resolve Mummy first here, just so we can put the Arukeni in trash. Otherwise, we'd have nothing to bring back.
Exactly.
And hopefully the Arukeni will hit another 5 for us to bring out.
Yeah, just no reason for us not to use Matt here, right? And then go ahead, resolve.
There's fringe cases where you want to keep Matt unsuspended because you want to try to get them to pop your
Right.
stuff on their turn to pass it back. But
it's unfortunate we didn't hit another 5, but I think it's probably okay.
yeah.
Realistically, what's like Alice plus Claw or
Well,
Pummel?
we've already got one shine in trash. We probably want the other shine in deck. Pummel, you can sort of do whatever with. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess probably Pummel Alice. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this allows us to really range. We don't have anything else in trash, so there's no reason to use the other one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like we can attempt, but like it's not gonna actually do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it just does nothing.
Okay.
So now here we've got a couple of options. There's obviously Alice into Lilith, add back, whatever we have in trash. I think we have one Jack Raid. So we'd play the other Jack Raid from hand.
Yeah, which let's go ahead and do that, right?
Yeah.
Just fire it off. Jack Raid, go to 4. We'll go ahead. Alice. So the mummy is going to survive. Because we hard.
I'm not even sure. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the mummy is the one that's going to stay, but I don't think we evolve into Lilith necessarily because, it doesn't matter because we have options here. We can call in, pop the other one, and keep going. But the reason that we wouldn't necessarily, pop the Arcane.
Yeah.
The reason we would go Truby here first is because of a play that I'll go over after the gameplay. But you can go into Truby for 1 with Alice, pop a level 5, and then it will bring 1 tamer out. Truby brings the 2nd tamer out, and you can set up 2 of the engine tamer to then allow you to go into another 5 for 0, which is one of the most crazy plays this deck can do. But okay, so we have Lilith hasn't been used, so if we go Jack Raid, we go to 7 here. Then I think we just slam another 5.
Yep. And then hopefully we'll hit the we'll hit another 5, right? Best case scenario.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Kenny skill. And then still no. That's kind of impressive actually. Go ahead, put another tamer into trash, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Alright, then the Mallow Myotis, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, having access to stuff like that is super important.
And then we do have the Arcane and trash. Go ahead.
Yeah, the one we just popped, so it's fine.
Again, whiffs, but is what it is. Matt plus Giz, right?
Yeah, setting up Giz and trash is probably the best bet.
Okay.
You just don't want it to be the last card.
Right.
So from here we can play the Alice, then go into Cherubi. The only thing we're really missing here is a way to kill the Mallow. So kill the Edamon. So maybe it might be better here to add back the Mallow, and then we can use the Mallow to pop the Edamon.
Okay, so do we just go ahead? Okay, so calling Pop Uko question mark?
Yeah.
Okay, calling Pop Uko. Okay, and then we'll go ahead, grab back Mallow, grab back what, Ruin?
I think Lilith, just to make sure we don't run out of access to the options.
Okay, makes sense. And then we'll go ahead. Trash 1, draw 2. What would our target be in this situation?
Probably Cherubi. We can Lilith get back calling, get back Cherubi later.
Right.
So as long as we have access to Lilith, but we're using the Mallow now, obviously.
We drew into another Cherubi, so not like that.
And we did do that, yeah.
Yeah.
So another play is you can evolve into Mallow using Alice to pop one of the 5s. Then the 5 brings back the Tamer, and then the Mallow will pop the Tamer to pop something of theirs and trash the security.
Yeah.
Then the Tamer brings out another 5.
Okay, so we'll go ahead. So it's Jack Raid first, right? Because we need enough memory in order to not pass on Mallow, right?
I think we want to pass here, right? Because we put them to 1.
True. Yeah.
And then we just get to do shit.
So Evo and back, right? We're done cycling. Realistically speaking, the reason we held off for so long is because we were trying to look for whatchamacallit. We're looking for a Nuka or something like that. Yeah, right. I believe the Arcane on the left is the one that will not die, if I remember correctly. So we'll go ahead. Arcane on the left.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe it's this one, and we'll go ahead. We pop Arcane, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it brings out the Tamer, so that we can then pop the Tamer.
Yep. Go ahead, Mallow. Mummy's really good. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Arcane effect, play Tamer, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yes. And that guy plays this. And then Mallow effect. We'll go ahead. We'll pop the Arcane Mummy.
Yep.
And then we'll go ahead, kill the Edamon. And then the Arcane Mummy effect resolves. Yep. and we'll go ahead. We'll play Arakeni. Oh, good. Yep, Arakeni effect. Mummy plus Arakeni.
I think at this point we probably want to keep them in trash. Send the Demi.
Okay.
Sorry, keep them in deck. So send Mummy because we haven't got any mummies, and then the Demi so we can do the Gitu play later.
Makes sense. Okay. And burns 1. Yep. All right. And then they're stuck at 1. They can move up. They go to 2, but that means that unless they have proto form, they can't actually evolve into like a multi X, right? Even if they go multi X, like it's not actually doing anything. Yeah. In this situation here, like, do you block or do you just take the damage? Because like if you take the damage, like you might get like something valuable in trash, or do you just like deny the damage here?
I think you deny the damage. Okay. Like if they were going to swing with the other 4, you'd obviously want to block that. I don't think they will. Well, it's the first time for everything.
I mean, it's a bot, right?
it is a bot. Realistically, an opponent there is most likely to Evo up and then do something with that stack.
Yeah, but, like Numa X or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, so that dies. We go ahead. Arakeni effect.
So this is the second half of the combo where when you pop the Tamer, it brings something out. That thing will pop itself during the opponent's end step, which will then trigger the Mallow again to trash another security.
Yeah, and then we'll go ahead. Move up.
Yeah, we haven't even really looped here. We've just whittled them down with Mallow Myotis and like a swing or 2 early game, and now we present lethal on them.
Yeah, and so we could go for lethal here and everything, but I really do want to showcase like the Cherubi pop part of this.
100%.
Yeah. So all right, so where are we going here? Because we obviously have the 5, right? We can.
Yeah.
We could.
So the main things to note out are that we have 10 in deck, so we're probably going to deck out. So we need a way to access Gizu at some point and pop it at the end of the combo.
Yeah.
And we'll try to go for the minus 15k on the Shine, just to show that off.
Right. Okay. So go ahead. We'll start with Mummy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Start with Mummy. Arakeni effect. Yep. Go ahead. Pop the Arakeni Mummy. Okay. Go to Mummy for 3 effect. We'll go ahead. We resolve the Arakeni Mummy. I mean, not Mummy Mon effect. Just to get as much as possible. We want to discard rookies here at this point in order to get them in like trash to like.
Everything else is way more valuable at this point.
Okay, we'll go ahead. We will resolve Matt and get the extra memory. We'll go ahead, activate Arakeni Mummy. Play 1. We go ahead. We can play. Is this the point in the game where like you ever play the Demi?
Not yet. So we're gonna most likely go into Cherubi with Alice next, and then that will give us 3 floats. One of those will be the level 3.
Okay, and then so between Arakeni and Mummy,
probably Mummy, because we want to actually see the cards that are left in deck at this point.
Okay, nice. And then we'll go ahead discarding. What do you
discard Matt and the Tamer.
Matt and Tamer, sure. Okay.
Having the Tamer means you can like play 2 from hand, but you don't really need that at this point in the game.
Extra burn. We can just Jack Raid, right?
I think if you go Cherubi first, it'll put you to 0, and you'll get 30 in trash.
Oh, with the second Alice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to do over the Mummy Mon that we played by effect, right?
Yes.
So that way it'll like completely like just like blow up.
Yep. Yeah. So it dying during your opponent's end step means that you'll summon a bunch of rookies, and they'll all effectively have rush because you've controlled them since the beginning of your turn.
Right. And then from this point, what's the target we pop here?
We are popping the level 5.
Okay, Mummy. Pop Mummy, get back Arakeni. We don't need to
so we get back
any further. We're fine. There's
we get back 2 Arakenis here. So then we can play a 5 for 0 from hand.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead. We use Mummy effect, get back the Arakeni. Okay, Cherubi effect. We'll go ahead. What would you grab back here?
It's another Arakeni.
Okay. Okay. Pops this. Nice. Okay.
Alright. So now we want to get a 5 in hand, ideally. So we want to Jack Raid up.
Yeah. Jack Raid, go to 4.
Yeah. Then just Jack Raid to 8.
Okay.
Oh, actually, Jack Raid to 6, and then we can go into Shine.
Like over the Lilith? Or?
Yeah, on the Lilith.
Okay. Okay, so that's -5.
At this point, we haven't got a 5 in hand, so we kind of need to find one.
I mean, we could Evo Lilith, grab Calling until grab a 5 now.
Evo on what?
Oh, true. Wait, we don't have a 5.
Yeah. So that's the hard part, is balancing the resources. We can swing the Ghazi here, and if it dies, we can discard the Pummel. We'll draw 2. We should draw into a 5 here.
Okay. Not a 5. But
We have to discard the pommel.
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we
right.
have 5. Also, I think
Yeah.
the sim's been ordering for us,
It
whereas in
has
real
been,
life
yeah.
we would order ourselves. So we would
Mhm.
have put the 5 higher. But all right, so we did see the 5 that we knew was in deck.
Mhm.
We can discard. Sorry, we can play it and pop both tamers to play it for 0.
Yep. Okay, go ahead. First one. Yep. And we'll go ahead and do the second one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the sim is giving us the option to choose what we delete. I'm pretty sure the tamer can only delete itself.
I don't know. We'll just go ahead, yeah. These last 2 cards have to go. And this is where now we have to like Gizmon.
Yeah, so yeah, at the end of the combo we'll be Gizmon here
Yeah.
for sure.
So here, what is it?
So we probably want to bring out 1 Arakeni so that they're forced to discard from hand. Mummymon, if you have 0 cards in deck, will attempt to draw and will attempt to discard. So
Okay.
make sure you don't bring that out with nothing in deck.
Okay, then we just
And then we can bring out the 3 heroes. No, we already have the Gizo on field, so we don't need that. We just bring out another 5.
Okay, so another Arcani. Okay.
Yeah. And then we still have an Alice that's live, so we
Mhm.
can Evo Lilith onto one of the Arakenis, probably the one that's not going to die.
Yeah, so this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, go ahead. Pop the Giz.
Don't pop it yet, because we want it to be like the second last thing we do.
Okay.
The last thing will be Evo into Shine, and we'll draw the first Giz, but we
Okay.
need the other one in.
Okay.
So just pop one of the 5s.
Okay. Yep, there's Lilith. And then we'll go ahead, Arcani effect.
Yep, play out Tamer.
Yep. Okay, Lilith effect. Alright, what do we...
So here we want Calling for sure, and just a Jack Raid, really.
Okay.
Yep, and then so we know that the other Shine's in trash, so if we Jack Raid here, we should go to 6 memory.
Yeah, go to 4, gain 2, go to 6. Yep.
Yep. Calling on the first Shine stack.
Okay.
Now this is where it gets like a little weird on the sim. I was testing Sim out the other night when it dropped.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a way to tell what Shine was the one on field versus the one already in trash, because if we add back one from field, it obviously won't work.
We're trying to like we want to get an indicator for that, and I imagine we're not.
No, we don't want to take Gizu at this point. We just want to make sure we have access to Lilith and a 5, but we also need a Shine here. So this is going to be a bit weird. We have the 5 on field, so if we get Lilith Shine, we can get Calling back, which means another 5.
Yeah.
Realistically, we're grabbing the one that isn't going to be
the one sent from field. I think it's this one. This is one of those things with like a quality of life we want to add ourselves. But for right now, that's not the case. Okay. Yeah. We chose.
Okay. Good. We got the right one.
We chose correctly. Okay. So right now they're -10. Okay.
Yep. And so we could straight up evolve into Shine. They'd be at -15, and then well, we don't want to do that, I think. Well, I guess theoretically we could, because then we could Jack Raid Lilith, add back Calling, pop Gizu. But it's probably safer to go the Lilith and pass turn with Shine. So if we go Lilith on the 5 right now.
Okay, so Lilith over the 5.
Yep.
Okay.
And then that will add back the Jack Raid and the Calling.
Right. So Jack Raid, and then where's Calling? There it is. Okay.
Yep, and so we can Calling on the Gizu.
Yep, pop it. This will bot deck 2.
Yep.
And then we'll go ahead. We'll grab back. Doesn't matter.
Not really at this point. Like this is showing off. Yeah, why not? It literally.
Why not? Matter. Right? Yeah. I'll go ahead.
Yep.
Yep. Well, attempt. Or
yeah. So yes, you won't actually be playing it, but you can still attempt to bot deck both.
Yeah. Perfect. Gain 2.
And then we can just Evo and pass turn.
I can do another Shine, right?
Yep. And yeah, Evo on that one because that's the one that's passing. The one that isn't going to pop itself in the end step.
Yeah. Okay. And
so they're at -15. This plays around Death X. This means that they can't commit anything to the board and have it live. So realistically, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, like this Valkyrie is just immediately going.
Yeah, sure, man. That's the most human behavior I've ever seen, actually. Like the bot being like, "Oh well, I can't do anything anyway. I'm dead. May as well slam this ace that gives you 10 memory."
Okay, so we'll go ahead and play from trash, right? All right, and then it's just summon spawn.
It doesn't matter what you bring out. in theory, bringing out the Uko that gives you memory when you raise something up matters when you have something in raising.
Yeah, and then and then
We're at
now
10 memory and had nothing.
yeah. So super crazy cool combo. There's a lot of steps involved to like loop that. It's really important you just don't like accidentally dick yourself out. But I think that was a really great like demonstration of like just how like powerful this deck can be.
Yeah.
And I like Rusty said, probably don't take this to your locals because people will probably hate you a little bit. Because
I'll say, feel free to take it to locals.
Yeah,
Make
yeah,
sure you
yeah.
know what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. No, don't first time this in like your locals, right?
Yeah, 100%.
This is like as you saw here, we were able to like practice this with the bot, right? So this is something like you could easily do, so that way you can just like avoid frustrating people in real time.
Yeah, having the bot's actually super critical.
Yeah, but yeah. Any last closing comments?
I mean, yeah, just I guess to go over it again, you saw most of the core lines there, but the minus 15k with Shine is massive, and it clears every major meta threat. So it's the reason it gets to live, prevent death X, all that sort of stuff. That's how you do it, either sort. The Cherubi win con is sort of the main win con, and Cherubi plus Alice gives you the double tamer to let you play the 5 from hand for 0. That is by far the most high value play in this deck. It lets you literally combo from 0. Like you need no memory to be able to do that. It's insane. And then the Mallow line, just the Mallow using Alice to pop a 5, give you the tamer, Mallow pop the tamer, gives you another 5, and then that 5 blows itself up during the end step to trash another security on their turn after trashing a security on your turn and deleting something of theirs. It's just such a high value play. It's insane. Do you want to go over matchups?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like, I guess in order of what I consider to be competitively viable, and sorry to whoever I insult with that, Nume, you have like a 50-50 matchup. It depends on how fast they are, and especially if they can set up the Emperor, if they're on the Emperor, that is, because the Emperor will slow you down when a lot of the deck's value and setup comes from promoting the Uko. The Venus, if they're playing the Venus, can slow down because you don't get like Lilith or Mallow or Shine or any of that sort of stuff. They have a couple of ways to devolve Cherubi during the kill turn, so you need to really be sure that you're setting up that minus 15k to prevent their Digimon on plays from being able to interact with Cherubi. And they play Floodgates, but we have Matt and we have Claw and Pummel and Shine to just deny the Floodgates. So the matchup isn't actually that bad. It's just whether they can rush you down before you can stabilize. But I think it's the worst sort of one of the worst matchups that you'll see in the actual meta. We have Magna X, the blue base version. We are heavily favored into that. I can't remember the last time I actually lost a match into it. They have a lot of early game chip, but that gives a lot of resources, and they'll likely hit pummels or claws or jack raids to really disrupt their turn. And then we can just minus 15k their board, clear their Magna, and basically they can't do anything after that point. They play Death X, but minus 15k prevents Death X on play. So unless they have a really good start and they can kill us before we can stabilize, this is a really good matchup. And similar with Vaccine, they have their Magna X and their Rapid X as their main boss monsters. We just clear them with minus 15k. They're even slower than the blue base on average, unless they really high roll, which has happened to me at locals a few times. But on average, we get to set up well before they are threatening us. So also very favored into that. Mirage is one of the rougher matchups. The Ghazi does help a lot by preventing them from interrupting your combo turn with the Mirage. And the fact that we have low hand size, we can sort of keep our hand intentionally low to play into that. But for the most part, if they set up fast and they leave a 6 on the field, if you aren't ready for that, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to actually respond. But Mallow Myotis, also a very big tool. Going into the Arukeni to pop the Tamers, also very important because that doesn't draw cards, it just filters the deck. So there are things you can do, but that is definitely one of the harder matchups. Imperial would be a fine matchup. It would be probably pretty easy, except for Dragon Mode, and that card is very difficult to deal with as well, because Tamor obviously plays by effects. Alice doesn't evo by effects, so that's nice. They can't stop you from going into Alice, but it's hard for us to do something to deal with the Imperial and also not just give them the fours to go into another one. So that interaction is really hard, but it is possible to combo off before they get there. If they open even slightly slowly, you can just combo minus 15 their board, and they won't be able to do anything before you kill them with Truby. So, Red Hybrid and Birds are sort of the same setup into this. They'll both try to chip you early, just set up Arakeni, get blockers in play as soon as possible. You'll prevent their chip. Whatever chip does go through might give you resources or help you clear their board, but they can't do anything on the Shine. There's a recurring theme here. Luga loses to Shine and Ghazi. If they get to their kill turn first, they win, but I think on average we are faster, so that will just give us the edge in that matchup. Grace Nova faster than them. Unless they high roll, which I got high rolled turn 3 Grace Nova twice last locals. Shout out to Jeremy, thanks for that. But on average we should be faster. And then Tyrant, pretty much the same as Magna X. It's just we minus 15k, they unsuspend, they're no longer immune, they die. So not a whole lot to worry about. They don't even really threaten us nearly as fast. So we have a lot more time to set up the minus 15k into them. And that's sort of it for matchups. It's pretty much it. Like there's not much you can there's only so much you can communicate in the video, right? You need to go play this and learn it and really internalize how all of these pieces work, because they have so many synergies between themselves that you can't I can't even think of expressing. It's just something you need to learn and really get in tune with. But if you learn this deck, it is extremely rewarding.
All right, and so any shout outs or final comments?
Yeah, so shout out to Bella and Tiago from the Hoang Discord. They both were major inspirations. I think Tiago posted a list, Bella helped optimize it, and then I looked at that list and it clicked and I saw the potential. And then started turning it from more of a toolbox deck into a focused loop deck. So yeah, shout outs to them, and then shout outs to my friends in No Pants Gaming. We do in theory have a YouTube channel, but we only ever really post when someone wins something or we go the Nats. But they've been very patient with me learning this deck. Again, don't take it to locals until you know what you're doing. I made that mistake thinking, oh, I've played loop before, how hard can it be? Nah, this deck's way harder. I was 2-0, and then in the final round of an Evo Cup, I was spinning my wheels a bit and took 10 minutes on the final turn, and we ended up drawing because we ran out of time. So sorry, Alan, my bad. But yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Rusty, for coming on the Hoang Zero channel and showcasing what I'm sure will probably annoy a lot of people in the future, because I don't know about you, but back in EX1, I hung out with a lot with Ying, who some of you may remember as third place North American National Lilith Loop player. And I would just sit there for 15 minutes going on my phone while he did his stuff. So,
yeah, I did the same to my locals with that in BT11. So
yeah, so I'm sure some PTSD will probably kick in for some people, but other than that, it's a really fun deck. Minus 15k, pretty broken, turns out. Not a lot of people can deal with that, if anything, actually. But yeah, so thank you so much, and thank you all so much for watching. Take it easy.